Around the friendship and knowledge about Raila Odinga, I want to introduce Manu Chandaria. He's a long-time friend of Raila Odinga and his family. They've been in business together. And Manu Chandaria, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Earlier on we were chatting with Manu Chandaria and he was telling us he is 97.7 years old. So he's about 5 months shy of his 98th birthday, and he's joining us here. Manu Chandaria, we thank you so much for finding time to be with us this afternoon. And I want to give you time now to eulogize your friend Raila Odinga, and you tell us something that we don't know about your friendship and Raila Odinga.
Thank you. Thank you for this, to condole with the family. He was a great person, great politician, great statesman, and a great peacemaker. Being in industry and being the head of KAM, KEPSA, East African Business Council, number of times we had the opportunity of meeting each other to understand the economics of this country. And being also in industry, he could realize and understand the problem. But what Kenya has lost, it will be not understood at this moment. It will take its own time before you go back and listen and to understand what this man stood for. He lost a number of elections, but even after that, he had the courage and the thinking about the good of Kenyans to shake hands with President Uhuru, shake hands with President Ruto. Now, to be on the opposite camp, to fight an election, then to say what's good for Kenya, what's good for people of Kenya, that type of thinking is very rare in this country. And I've seen in my own life of almost 70 years of my work that you find very rare people who are prepared to see what is ahead of them, not what is behind them. And I think that Raila is one of them. And when I say peacemaker, whenever you see him, he's always laughing, always smiling, and also serious as and when you want him. But he supported the business community. He continuously looked for avenues so that we can improve the standards of living of our people. And in times and again, as and when we met, it's always a joy and an understanding that, yes, we are working for our nation. We're not working for myself. He never said that he is for himself. He was working for Kenyans. And we hardly find people of that nature. And so, Mama Ida, I'm so sorry, and your children. I know that how you people feel, and there's a void in your life. But remember, there'll be a bigger void in Kenya than what you have. He was a great person, a great personality, and I would say, may Lord grant him the peace that he needs.
Mm-hmm. When you worked with Raila Odinga, during your various chairmanship as the chair of Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Kenya Private Sector Alliance, as well as the East African Business Council, what kind of a leader was he, and what kind of business-related advices did he used to give? And I also know that you also worked with Raila very closely during the Mwai Kibaki era, especially during the drafting of Kenya's long-term economic blueprint, Vision 2030.
That's right. I think in the Constitution, making of the Constitution, I was a member. And I think the amount of discussion that went on and the type of the discussions which turned sometimes very hard, but when he came into the picture, he will cool us and get lots of people to understand the basis of what we are discussing. Now, very few people have got this kind of capacity to be a part of solving a problem, not creating a problem. And when it comes to solving, he was great at it.
And from where you stand and going forward, how do you think as a country we should honor Raila Odinga's legacy?
I think the country can honor, but I think the people of Kenya will always honor him. The amount of number of people, whether you're on this side of the politics or that side of the politics, but when it comes to advise, to understand the philosophy of looking after Kenya, you cannot beat him. And that's what the best part of it was, that in all adversity, he was always smiling. And to smile when you're in difficulty, that's not easy. He always worried about Kenyans. He worried about the Kenyans who were roaming around without jobs. He always worried and kept on pushing us. Please, increase your capacity. Do what's necessary so that we can employ 1,000 more. And I think that kind of advice and that kind of thinking, and not people from Kisumu area, all people. And that is what was beauty about him, is he was a Kenyan, a true Kenyan, and not belonging to a tribe. Yes, he belonged to a tribe, as much as I belong to a tribe, but a true Kenyan. To find true Kenyans in adversity, in difficult time, is very, very difficult. You give up many a times, but he never. And he always tried to find out a solution. And when he was his prime minister, I think Prime Minister Modi was here.
Yeah.
And I asked Prime Minister Modi whether he has met the Prime Minister Raila Odinga. He said no. So I rendered lunch. And that was interesting, that after a year, he and with other 4 ministers, together myself, we went to Gujarat, where he was the chief minister. He has been a friendship since then. But to explain to him, and whenever they were talking, these 2 statesmen were talking, they were not talking about which party they came from. They talked about their people and the worries they carried with them, about the poverty of the people, about problematic issues about of the people. And I think it does sounded very well. And to me, he was a great man, and Kenya will miss him. Kenya will miss him.
Tell me this, Manu Chandaria. What is this one thing or 2 things that you're going to forever admire about Raila Odinga?
Well, I've met so many people in my life. 97.5 years is not that easy and small, that's short. The point is that you got to depend. When you see him, you feel comfortable. When you see him, you feel assured. When you see him, you don't feel that that somebody's going to take you around. No. There was genuine interest in the people of Kenya. All of us have got some interest in Kenya. But for the country, and love for the country, worry for the country, that very few. Very, very few. And I think he was one of them. That when it talks about peace, yes. And he has taken everything in his own way. He lost a game, doesn't make difference. He didn't lose the hope. The hope to make a better Kenya was always with him. Yeah.
Theomitis, I'll be circling back to you, Manu Chandaria, but I just want to bring on board Silvester Kasuku. You are telling me about the qualities that you used to admire and you think that have shaped Raila Odinga as a man. What qualities are these?
Yes, and of course a number of them have been mentioned here. Well, people keep mentioning them, but they've now not been put in a package. Sometimes the people think that they are mentioned by conjecture. But I just want now to run through them so that people can see what person he was and why he was so dear to the people of Kenya and to many leaders as well. Number one, he was a human rights defender. Come what may, even if he was in the highest office in the land, having the greatest friends around him, and a human rights issue was being violated, he would stand out straight away, even if you are in a function with him, talking to him, or you have just had a meeting with him. But he steps out and he finds a human rights issue violated. Straight away, you will be up and talking against it and saying this issue must be tackled. Number two, people have talked about respect. Indeed, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga was indeed a respectful man. He respected his fellow leaders. You remember when he was working with Kibaki? I attended meetings with him, together with Kibaki. The mere fact that President Kibaki never used to talk, he would not talk more. In fact, he would leave the meeting the way Kibaki used to leave it for the ministers to talk. And the secretary to the cabinet, Ambassador Mudaura, to speak, so that they would canvass the issues in front of them. And, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga would not now start moving, with the speeches, so that he could cover more. He would also let the team work so that him and Kibaki could just now preside over, passing the resolution. And you saw this even with Moi. The mere fact that he walked out when Kisrani issue came out did not mean that he was disrespectful. But it's when the basic tenets of democracy, the basic tenets of human rights, the basic tenets of freedom were being, trampled upon. With President Kibaki again, you saw that even though they had a fierce fight for the ticket for the presidency in 2007, after they formed the Grand Coalition government, he created a very fertile ground for them to agree on issues. He never went to be abrasive, even when they went to Kilaguni, you remember that retreat that did not go well. It was not the Right Honorable Raila Odinga who did not make the retreat go well, but it is the handlers who did not agree, and at the end of the day, then President Kibaki said, no, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, let's go back. Yeah, they can. Then the issue of listening, and also on this matter of respect, you also saw how when he joined President Ruto in the broad-based government, you've seen the kind of respect he gave him, irrespective of the criticisms that people are giving, because he believed in any undertaking that he signed to. In terms of listening, you could not match it. The patience he had, the listening ability, that he would sit down, as P.S. Mangeni has said, he would sit down with you, irrespective of who you are. Sometimes people around him would be thinking, why is Jacom sitting down with so-and-so? But he would be there. And whatever he discussed with you, he would keep it and he would carry it forward where it was needed. In terms of his relationship with people, so many people in offices are pretending to be extremely busy that they cannot even pick calls. Sometimes they even just see their phones ringing, not that they are busy at that time, but they don't just want to pick calls. Yeah. The Right Honorable Raila Odinga was picking calls even when he was in bed. I can give you a recent case this past week. In fact, just barely 3 days before he died. Nuru Okanga called him at night. Actually, he was sleeping. And the ring of the phone woke him up and he picked the call.
Raila now? Raila
himself, when he was in India. When he was undergoing treatment, he picked Nuru Okanga's call and told him, Nuru, I'm in India. I'm here getting treatment, but I'm coming. So Nuru, I even asked him, but when you come back, what I want is just a photo with you. He told him, Nuru, hiyo nitakuja, we'll take a photo. And, you know, and he had a conversation until Nuru told him, okay, Baba, thank you. He did not tell him, Nuru, I'm sleeping, don't call him. No. Yeah, and Nuru was calling him in the presence of other people. He was telling them when people were saying that he was not there. Nuru told him, no, Baba is there. Nothing has happened to him. And I want to prove. And he called. And other issues like keeping his word. Baba always kept his word. Forget about issues that sometimes he was overwhelmed by circumstances that you find that maybe something did not go well the way it had been discussed with him. Many a times, and if something did not go right, he would still keep in his mind and still believe that something needed to be done about it.
Very well.
The protector of even people with whom he had relationships with. You remember when Jimmy Wanjigi supported him, and then now Jimmy Wanjigi was being beaten by the system. He went to Jimmy Wanjigi's house and sat there. And people were saying, you mean Baba can risk his life? And he said, please, don't stop. He was even able to stop the security forces from, you know, tormenting the family of Jimmy Wanjigi. And he stood there until when Jimmy Wanjigi was released. And he has done it to many people. In terms of his agenda, I've spoken about it when I was talking about human rights. Again, risking his life, being selfless, that even when he was advocating for people's rights, he still came out even when it was risky. Like that time when there were demonstrations after the 2017 elections and also 2022 elections. You remember, he came out and he swallowed tear gas together with his followers. He was in the convoy, and the time when he came from abroad, you remember? When people said that, Baba, welcome
while you are
home.
away.
Baba, while you are away.
That was in 2017, 13?
2013, Baba, when you are away was 2013. Then the one when he came back in 2017, that was now 2018, when he had come back, when President Uhuru, that was I think January, President Uhuru had gone for Addis Ababa, you know, AU General Assembly meeting. And on that particular day, when people went to receive him from the airport, you remember upon turning into Outer Ring Road and Jogo Road, there was such a kind of an ensuing, you know, battle between the people and the police. And he never ran away. He remained there until he came with them to Upper Hill. And that's when he called it off. He said, you people, we have had enough. Now let's go home. But he never ever, you know, left people because of his life. On matters of being a mentor, he has mentored many people. And in terms of being a peacemaker, this one cannot even be doubted by anyone.
It goes without saying.
Forget about the names that people have given to situations where he's been a peacemaker. 1998, he joined President Moi to create peace and to create the environment for creating changes in electoral laws, among many other things, towards the 2002 general elections. And in 2002, he joined President Kibaki and supported President Kibaki when he saw that if he continued on his own, and Kibaki going on his own, they were going to split the votes and they were going to lose the elections. When it came to 2008, he was able to leave his own ambition of becoming president and agree to join in a grand coalition government through a mediated process. In 2018, he agreed to thaw down hostilities in the country and had a handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta. In 2024, he again thawed the hostilities that were ensuing in the country that were threatening actually to break down the country. And you've had many politicians boasting actually that if the Right Honorable Raila Odinga did not come forward, that they were actually going to topple the government. You've heard about it severally. And he said that Kenya was not the country to put at risk by toppling the democratically elected government. And he put himself forward to be able to protect that peace. A solution provider all the times. And there are many instances. I would give it even when he was prime minister. President Kibaki often left controversial issues to him to go and resolve. And he would come up with a solution. Many a times I even chaired those small internal task forces inside government to formulate solutions. When it comes to transformative leadership, again, he has led many transformative agendas in Kenya. He's a lover of cultures. You can never find the Right Honorable Prime Minister missing a cultural event. P.S. Mangeni herself has talked about it. You've seen him attending very dutifully and very religiously the Tobongolore Turkana cultural event, yes. He never missed. Even if you are to talk about the Kikuyu cultural events, he never missed. The coast, he was always there. He was always there even with the Wazes. In Meru, you would find him with the they are called the Njurunjekes. You would find him in Luyaland attending the Nabongo and among many other cultural events. You know, very, very a lover of culture. And those are things that endeared him to people and people could see. He was also a quick learner, technology-wise. Computers and iPads, and they found Raila already, you know, advanced in his age comparably, but he adopted technology so quickly. And even in terms of languages, like when the issue of Katiba was coming up, people were still wondering, how do you call devolution? Raila already quickly came up and said, "Hiyo ni ugatuzi." Very well. And I'm just finishing now. Yes. When it came to issues of infrastructure, people were wondering, how would you call infrastructure? He's telling people, "Hiyo ni miundo msingi." You know, he was a quick learner. Yeah. So there are so many things about the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And there is a sum up in a manuscript I've written, which I shared a draft with him some 3 months back, which is called the river crossing theory. His political life, leadership and everything else has some theoretical basis that actually needs to be brought into the field of academia. And I believe that his coalition building powers is like the crossing of a river, and it becomes a theory of political theory, political leadership theory of river crossing. Because for you to build a coalition, you need to cross certain divides. And he perfected it and enabled other leaders also to learn from him in the formation of coalitions. Very well. Yeah.
Susan Mangeni, you know, as a student of Raila Odinga on matters politics, what qualities of Raila Odinga are you going to hold dear and are you going to cherish, you know, for years to come? And before you respond, I just want to bring people up to speed with what is happening at the Nyayo National Stadium. What you're seeing on your screen are people still queuing to view the body of Raila Amolo Odinga. And of course, remember, the body will be taken to Lee Funeral Home for overnight stay and of course for preparation, and thereafter, tomorrow morning, his remains will be flown to Kisumu, where a public viewing exercise will take place at the Kenyatta International Sports Complex in Kisumu City. And thereafter, there will be a procession to Siaya County, where the body will spend the night, that is tomorrow evening, at his ancestral home, or what we call the Opoda house or compound or farm in Bondo. So those are some of the details, and of course the burial is going to take place on Sunday at the Kango Kajaramogi burial site, and we have seen preparations are underway to ensure that the burial site is prepared for this important exercise. So let's go back to Susan Mangeni, the PS for MSME's development. As I had asked you things as a student of Raila Odinga, what qualities of this man are you going to cherish for years to come?
Yeah, first I appreciate that this is a man who lived fully his generational mission. It was Franz Fanon who said, each generation has out of obscurity to fulfill or betray the generational mission. Raila's generational mission was about bringing political freedom. And he has worked with that throughout his life. His struggles and great participation is what led to the current constitution that we are enjoying today. Indeed, if someone was to ask you even many years to come, what do you know of Raila? I think Raila birthed the 2010 constitution. He birthed the 2010 constitution because he struggled during the second liberation, and you know many of those that joined him in the struggle A number of them also fell along the way. But he was resilient, and this is what now defines his life. If he chose a course, he will never tire until that course is fulfilled. And I mean, so again, I will give an example when I was appointed to the board of the Youth Enterprise Fund as a director. I think around that time he was in Europe. So very early in the morning, he calls me. So like, Jacob, how are you? Like I said, that's how we used to call. He said, I gave you a name. I'm hoping that you've been gazetted. Can you confirm? You know? And I said, well, it was early in the morning. I think the gazette notice was to come up. It was on Tuesday morning. So on Friday morning, sorry. So the gazette notice came up and my name was there. So you see, and then so I told him, but Baba, you know, Jacob, how come you did not share about this? He said, you know, we have to protect. What is talking about protection? That imagine if I called people from my circle or other leaders to come and say, can you give me a name? Chances are they will not give me your name. So this one I had just to do it myself. That was a guambo for you. So he knew also, he understood the space and he knew how to protect those he felt were vulnerable and were marginalized. He stood by them. And he was a nationalist, per se. You look at most of his appointment, he will balance. I mean, at some point, even people from his backyard were felt were being left behind. Because you will see even nominations, if you were to look quickly at the nominees even to parliament, you see how he put in people from across the country. And when he got an opportunity even during after the national accord, and serikali, what they call serikali ya nusu mkate, you could see even how he balanced. Ordinarily, some selfish leaders will not really do that. And that's why I said the current president is a perfect student of Raila Odinga. Then also, but 2013, remember we had been frustrated 2007-2008 election. 2013, after that election, and even before that, let me roll back to 2007. When the results came out, and they said he had lost, and of course you remember the swearing in at night of the then president, the late Mwai Kibaki, for the second term. And we were in the Pentagon Center. The following day, almost 3/4 of people who you will ordinarily find that they were not there. I felt for him at that point. I even shed tears because now you see he was like alone. But he was resilient. You know, it's common with human being that when you are facing victory, everybody will clam around you. So he had also been let down several times, even with people he thought he could trust. So here he is, facing it alone. People who would offer him shoulder to cry on. So I think with time he also learned how to offer himself the other shoulder to lean on. How to lean on himself. Most of the time whenever he was down. One thing that I was expecting Kasuku to say, which he never said, this was a strategist. He wrote his own rules and played by his own.
By the same rules.
Yeah. And most of the politicians, you've seen people say, oh, how many people are tagging on his court. They were consulting. I mean, he was a strategist for election. He was a chief campaigner. And the other person actually who can now today equal him now, because of energy, is the current president. I mean, that's why everybody wants to be in their path, because they know these people, when they decide to campaign, campaign for you.
Yeah.
They'll campaign you and give you a platform themselves. So he was a strategist, he was a super coach, and he was a super player. So he played. And remember, many a time he used to use mpira. Figuratively, if you look at mpira, is for strategist. We anacheza number fulani. He knew how to deploy his teams. And if you are carefully listening to him, who is playing this, who is scoring, who is the goalkeeper, nani anachukua mpira, anapiga, inaenda off. He was telling you the strength of his team. So he knew how to place and deploy his teams around to achieve the results which he wants. So quickly, maybe in 1 minute or 2 minutes. So he was a book of political life. And this book has now closed so many pages, and we open a new book. And that's why in 2013, after the election results came out and it was not what we expected, I remember having an engagement with him, and I said, maybe Jacom, your power was never meant to be on the throne, but rather to build the throne. So maybe we should start now looking at that as the end in itself. Because believe you me, many presidents will come, but very few will have their name in many years to come.
Very good.
In those places that your name will be, your name will never leave history. Your name will always be there. I mean, you are likely to be more prominent than people even who served as the president. So maybe your throne was, you are to make a throne and not to sit on it. But I want to finish by saying this.
Yes, please.
To wrap up. He was also a worker. Any ministry, remember that Raila, since Moi's time, when he joined Moi, he went to Energy. Energy became the most powerful ministry. He was also at lands, right? Whenever, not lands, whenever he will go, even if it was a smaller ministry, roads and public works, he will dedicate himself with a lot of passion to the extent that it became the most powerful ministry. And that just demonstrates how he was, you can imagine how he was working at the same time, balance politics of the day. So, and one more thing, and probably last thing, is, of course, he believed in justice, which is enshrined in his pursuit for political freedom. And he never slept on that. I mean, and also needs to take it upon themselves and do it. So I think that's the one thing that lives with that.
About this man.
But also an elder person. He was an elder.
An elder statesperson.
He was an elder statesperson.
Very good. I want to bring Manu Chandaria here on board, and I want to circle back to, I want to take you back to the year 2009. Raila Odinga was the Prime Minister at that point, and there was this major meeting that brought together players in Kenya's manufacturing as well as business circles. And I was in that room, and this was at the Grand Regency Hotel. I know so many people know a thing or two about the Grand Regency Hotel. And Raila was invited to talk to the business community as well as industrialists. And one thing he told them, and I remember very well, was, even in your business ethics, learn to put Kenya and Kenyans first. I don't know whether you can remember that, Dr. Manu Chandaria.
Absolutely.
When you look at how the Kenyan manufacturing sector, the business community has expanded, do you see the footprints of Raila Odinga in the way they are doing business these days?
Well, we will remember him. At every problem that we find, we'll think about a man who would sit down, listen, argue if necessary, but at the end of the day, he will come out with what's good for Kenya. I think Kenyan business community is going to miss it. Because knowingly, unknowingly, with everywhere, when it came down to the business, he was good, he was okay. And we always respected him. His opinions, his views, his advice, and we always felt he's one of us. In the business community, we always felt he was one of us. And to have that kind of following by community who can make Kenya bring up to an extent is not easy. I think as a politician, it was great. But as a businessman and as a supporter of economy, it was great.
It was great. I also know that, you know, Raila Odinga was a very good friend of the Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. And you are very key in fostering relationships between Narendra Modi and Raila Odinga. What was the relationship between the two, and why was Modi so attracted to Raila's style of leadership?
Well, when he came over here, he came as a private citizen of India. And I asked him, I met him at the Indian High Commission, and I asked him, have you met anybody in the government? The Prime Minister. He said, no. I said, all right, we'll organize. And I had organized lunch for them. The Modi's situation was one simple. Above everything, the goodwill, the good of the people of the country must stand first.
Yep.
You could be right, you could be wrong, but at the end of the day, what's good for the country must come out. And this understanding between the two of them, that we went to see in Ahmedabad, and he was with us at the time, we could understand that May 2nd, nation first. And to be calling the nation first, my interest second, third, fourth. That kind of attitude one has to be able to build. And you need a moral capacity to make very sure that what you're going to do is good for the country. You might miss up in somewhere, but that doesn't make any sense. Overall, if you grant him the marks, he was an excellent person as an individual. He was an excellent business person. He was an excellent politician. And above all, he was a great peacemaker.
The Indian Prime Minister eulogized Raila Odinga as a towering statesman and a cherished friend of India. How has Modi received the death of Raila Odinga, and what was his reaction? And I don't know whether you have managed to talk to the Prime Minister of late.
I think that they were in par in understanding, because their focus was only one. Focus was not individuality. Focus was not me as Modi, me as Raila. The nation came first. Nation came second. Nation came third. And then you follow. And I think that both of them had got that attitude that to serve a community, to serve a country, to serve people, you need humility, you need a feeling that you can feel the pain of the people. The minute you start feeling the pain of the people, your ego melts down. And both of them, very little ego. And I would say that when leaders of that nature try to meet each other, their interest, first, second, third, my country, my people. And that's what interesting about those people. And I think that he will be missed. People forget in a few days' time, but overall period, he will be missed. But by the business community, by the people who feel that as a peacemaker, we don't have a man who will be willing to stand up and say, I would like to shake your hand.
Very good. Yeah. If you're just joining us, we're having a very great conversation here in studio as the board viewing of the former Prime Minister process, it looks like it is coming to an end. We're in the great company of Manu Chandaria, philanthropist, industrialist, as well as a businessman, a former chair of Kenya Private Sector Alliance, as well as Kenya Association of Manufacturers, together with East African Business Council. We're also in the company of Dr. Silvester Kasuku, a long-term advisor and ally of the former Prime Minister, together with the Principal Secretary in the State Department for MSMEs, Susan Mangen, who is also a long-time friend and a political mentor who learned her political ropes from Raila Odinga. And so we continue with this conversation. Manu Chandaria, you stand in a very unique position because you used to be a good friend of Raila Odinga's father, that is Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. And because of your age, you have the advantage of knowledge that most of us do not have. We can only read or learn from people like you. And when you look at Raila Odinga and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, do you see the qualities of the two people intertwined?
Qualities were the same. One was very modest. He didn't want to really make a show of it. That was the papa. Raila made a show, but with everything said and done, it was the show of strength and making Kenya a better place to live, making Kenya a stronger country amongst other countries. I think that it's from one generation of Oginga Odinga to the second generation of Raila Odinga. There was a difference of approach, but both of them were committed people for people.
Before I now turn to Silvester Kasuku, it looks like the board viewing process is winding up. I can see senior military officers now surrounding the casket bearing the remains of the former Prime Minister. And of course, as I told you earlier on, is that the body is going to be moved from the Nyayo National Stadium to Lee Funeral Home. There was a change of plan. Remember, the original plan was to have the body moved to his current residences, where it was to spend the night before it is flown to Kisumu County tomorrow morning, but there was a slight change because of different issues. And so we're keeping an eye on what's happening there as we circle back here in studio. Manu Chandaria, as we wind up this broadcast, I also want to hear this from you. Is Kenya becoming, or has Kenya become, the country that Raila Odinga envisioned in his lifetime?
Kenya is poorer than what it was. To make and to create another Raila, who is a peacemaker, who was always for the country, for the good of the country, is not going to be easy. Yet, let's not lose hope, because he has left so much of determination in the younger people who recently, many of them are absolutely having nothing but a hope that people like him who led Kenya, hats off to them, hats off to him. I lose as a good friend of mine, known him for a number of years, and one thing just came out: when you ring, he will pick up the phone.
He used to pick your calls?
Every time, every time.
Very good. I'll be circling back to you, but let's bring now Kasuku Silvester, and I want to repeat the question that I have just asked Manu Chandaria. Is Kenya becoming the nation that Raila Odinga envisioned in his struggle for a better Kenya?
O'Brien, I've worked very closely with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga for now close to 35 years.
Yep.
From the time I was a first-year student at the university. At the
University of Nairobi.
Yeah, I started from Kenyatta. And what I've seen is that he has had a very consistent fight for human rights. He has had a very consistent fight for devolution, equity, and what I may call the sharing of resources, equity and equality. And he has also fought very strongly for good governance, whether you're talking about fight against corruption, you're talking about the rule of law, you're talking about justice. And I want to bring you very quickly to encapsulate his entire journey of leadership, political life, and his contribution to the entire society. I strongly believe that Raila Odinga has left Kenya a better place than he found it, because he has achieved a number of the goals that he fought for very fiercely. Number one, he has left us when we have achieved the Kenya Constitution 2010. And we are now 15 years after the Constitution was promulgated. He has continued to fight for deepening the implementation of that Constitution. And you will remember that recently, the ODM party and the UDA party, under the leadership of the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga and President William Ruto, signed a kind of an accord, a kind of an agreement, or a kind of an MOU, or a framework for implementation of a number of agreed frameworks. Among them, revitalization of the economy, or strengthening economic transformation going forward. He spoke about job creation and the youth inclusion in the economy, which was also part of his manifesto in 2022. In this, he spoke about strengthening the MSMEs and support for MSMEs, which was also part of his manifesto in 2022, in which he had said that the MSMEs are actually the bedrock of the economy, and it is indeed the engine of the made in Kenya.
Just hold on
going
right,
forward.
For a minute, because we need to bring the public up to speed with what's happening at Nyayo National Stadium. As you can see, the casket is being now wheeled out of the Nyayo National Stadium. It's headed for the Lee Funeral Home, and the distance between the two is less than 5 kilometers. And so it is going to be carried by the same military truck. That is what I need to bring you up to speed with. As you can see, members of the Kenya Disciplined Forces from the Kenya Navy, the Kenya Army, as well as the Kenya Air Force officers are now wheeling out the remains of the former Prime Minister. The original plan was to have the body spend the night at Raila's home in Karen, but the plans have been changed because the body needs to be prepared accordingly for the long journey to Kisumu tomorrow, where the public viewing of the late former Prime Minister's body will take place at Kenyatta International Sports Center in Kisumu before it is ferried to Siaya County, Bondo, where it's going to spend the night before the interment ceremony at his burial site in a place that we are calling Konga Kajaramogi. That's right. Kango, not Konga. Yeah, Kango Kajaramogi, the village of Jaramogi. Yes. That's what you said, yeah? Yeah, so that is what exactly is happening here. There. And of course, before that, we had the double images of Kasarani as well as his Bondo home, where we saw Energy Cabinet Secretary Opio Wandayi sending the condolences book at Bondo, as well as Siaya Governor doing the same. Let's come back now to studio, where we continue to look back at the life of Raila Odinga, the present as well as the future. Silvester Kasuku, please take it up.
Thank you very much. I've just spoken about the policy, among the things that he signed together with the President William Ruto, so that the government can now move the country in a more unified manner. He spoke about economic revitalization to drive the transformation agenda for this country. I've talked about the job creation under that economic revitalization, in which he said that the youth inclusion is very important in the economy, and as such to bring them through into the economy through job creation, and also other areas that I'll talk about. But he also said that even those who are currently employed needs to be strengthened in terms of their participation in the economy and how to make their employment more meaningful. Going forward, he spoke about combating corruption. And I want to, while I'm talking about these policies that he was espousing, I also want to show how they are moving. Because if we do not connect how what they signed about is already moving, then we will not see the real light that these things will actually be done. So in terms of fighting, the fight against corruption, he and the president signed on issues that needed to make sure that within government, government processes did not promote corruption. And as such, among the things that they saw that needed to be spearheaded is actually digitalization of a number of services that would remove the human factor in the provision of services. And you've seen e-procurement currently being pushed forward so that we can remove the human factor and manipulations that have always been done in the procurement process in government that have actually led to loss of massive funds. And in so doing, this is also creating an element of equity and access to government opportunities when you do it through the e-procurement process. So this is what he was really fighting for. Number two, a lot of resources have also been lost in government projects, particularly when the cost of projects are inflated. Right now, as we speak, President William Ruto has established a framework for lowering project costs. He started with affordable housing, in which we are using what is called the first principles approach of how to break down, using the work breakdown structure for project components, costs, so that you really see the real cost of a project rather than looking at it as a capsule or an egg whose contents you might not really be able to vouch for. And if I want to give you an example, the cost of housing, which is currently being put on affordable housing, the unit cost used to be, let's say, 70,000 shillings per square meter when it came in. Currently, when now we've gone into matters governance and lowering the project costs, the cost of 1 square meter has now come down to less than 40,000. Down from 70,000. And even contractors at first, when they were told that now the costs must come down and government is no longer going to allow for loss of funds through construction projects, contractors were not willing to bid. But this is now being realized. He has now escalated this, and there's a cabinet resolution that has now said that this must now be escalated to the rest of the other infrastructure projects. Whether you're talking about roads, you're talking about ports, power, water, irrigation, airports, railways, and I'm the one leading that particular onslaught. And I've got a whole team of competent people, both from private sector and also in government, working on cost items within projects to make sure that if it is matters of steel, you don't have steel costing 3 times in a particular project, and then on the other side it is costing 2 times and another one 1.5. If it is concrete, depending on the classes of that concrete, it should not be varying so badly to the extent that you might not even know that one is being done in Kenya and another one is being done in Britain. It should be that cost of projects in Kenya should be sane. That insanity in the project costs is currently being tackled. If you talk about other government processes, digitization is already going on. In terms of action on audits, there's currently an escalated action plan by the head of the public service in which he has brought together all accounting officers in government. PS Mangeni will tell you. He has even held meetings with all accounting officers, even of state corporations and those in charge of oversight, to make sure that government processes no longer lead to resource leakages. So when we talk about what the Right Honorable Prime Minister was fighting for, he is coming together with President William Ruto is actually already bearing fruits. Because when they agreed to fight corruption, you have to go deep down into government to deal with the elements that are actually promoting corruption in government. Then you come to the area where he was talking about governance and institutional reforms. Here, the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga saw that our electoral system has not yet been reformed appropriately. And he has singled it out and has said that we need to reform IEBC more. And you've seen recently the new IEBC commissioners was sworn into office. And many other reforms are currently ongoing within that particular space. You look at strengthening democratic institutions and the rule of law. The strengthening of the offices of the ODPP, the Attorney General, the anti-corruption and the judiciary by way of enhancing their capacities in terms of staff and the like, equipment, among many other things, is actually something that is going a long way to show that the goodwill towards strengthening these institutions is moving on and to create independence in them. Reforms that are taking place within the space of the police service, as well as ensuring that the National Police Service get the right number of men and women, as well as resources and equipment, is equally moving in that direction. Decentralization of power and devolution of power. The outstanding area here is in terms of the functions and services that were supposed to be devolved together with attendant resources. And we saw that the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Odinga equally signed on this. And as we speak, there are efforts and there is a level of commitment which we look forward to being pursued further going as the administration continues to roll out implementation of these areas of agreement. Social cohesion and national unity. As we've said that the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has been a peacemaker. He has sacrificed his own self-interest at the altar of national unity. He said that there is nothing that would be so good for him, up to including gaining power, if the national interest was going to be compromised. And he forwent his own personal interests, even in 2008, when he said that he was no longer insisting on becoming president, provided that Kenyans achieved peace through the Grand Coalition government. He also has shaken hands many a times. And in these handshakes, they were not for personal aggrandizement. They were for building national unity. They were for strengthening social cohesion in Kenya and to create bridges across our ethnic and political divides in Kenya. And in this, he has talked about promoting inter-ethnic and interpolitical
Just a minute. Sorry to step on your shoes. As you can see on your screen, the cortege has left the Nyayo National Stadium. It has taken the Aerodrome Road, where it is going to connect to Uhuru Highway, and then it is on its way to the Lee Funeral Home. And I just want to make some quick correction. I had told you that the body will be taken to Lee Funeral Home via the military truck, but I can see it's like there was a change of plan. And I have seen the Volkswagen Martivan from the Lee Funeral Home, carrying the remains of the former Prime Minister, headed for the Lee Funeral Home. We told you earlier that there was a change of plan. The body was supposed to spend the night at his current home, but after consultation, the Burial Planning Committee has agreed to allow the body to spend the night at the Lee Funeral Home due to the preparations needed for tomorrow's journey to Kisumu County. I told you that the body will be veiled, or there will be public viewing of the body at the Kenyatta International Stadium in Kisumu County before it is wheeled to Siaya County, which is about, you said, about 50 kilometers from... Or less. Thereabouts, eh? Yeah, so that is a quick update. As now you can see the Nyayo National Stadium, the event is officially over, and the body is on its way at the Lee Funeral Home. We have our team at the Lee Funeral Home, and so once we get there, once they are in a position to give us a link and of course give us an update on what exactly will be happening there, we should be going there live. But now we're back in the studio to continue with the rest of the story. Please take it up.
Thank you very much, O'Brien. The next point, the next policy framework that the Right Honourable Prime Minister Raila Odinga has been fighting for all the years is the issue of promoting inclusivity and equal opportunities in Kenya. The Right Honourable Raila Odinga has always said that opportunities in government should not be a tribal issue, should not be a political issue, but should really ideally be what Kenyans should enjoy of the freedoms, what Kenyans should enjoy from the independence that we achieved, and what Kenyans should be enjoying in terms of our anthem's provisioning of what is said, I talked about the abundance of resources and opportunities within our borders. And as such, he has said that there must be policies to ensure this, so that it is not a matter of somebody being in a political party, like a political party in power, or being people being of a tribe of the person who is currently, who is leading in a political process. And there must also be programs that also address actually the marginalized communities within our country, because they've been marginalized as well as the minorities that have not been attended to for many years. And we saw the Right Honourable Prime Minister Raila Odinga actually championing this particular cause all the way from Bomas. And he has continued to talk about it. And what P.S. Mangeni will tell you, that even in the formation of the Grand Coalition government, and many other formations, including in his party and all other opportunities that he has distributed before, he has always tried to show that equal opportunities should ideally be at the center.
Very well.
Then youth, matters of youth, he continues talking about it, and P.S. Mangeni is a good example of how he has promoted the youth. And I'm happy that now today he can smile, even though the Right Honourable Raila Odinga is now lying in a casket. But she's attesting to the fact that promotion of the interests of youth has been at the core of his agenda, in terms of skills development, in terms of entrepreneurship, and even in training and youth-led businesses. Increasing their participation also in governance, as we've seen, has also been at the heart of the Right Honourable Raila Odinga's policies. In terms of security and human rights, he has never left this particular platform of security and human rights, in which he has always talked about enhancing national security and public safety at all times. Upholding human rights has been there, and I can say, without any sense of doubt, that the Right Honourable Raila Odinga stood for great things in this country. These great things continue right now to form part and parcel of national government policy, and are equally cascaded down to county government policies and other devolved units. I strongly believe that these particular agendas will be pursued, because he has also brought up many political leaders, and many current political leaders, including the president of the country, His Excellency President William Ruto, are people with whom they've worked together and have shared in his vision.
Very good.
I want to leave it there for now.
We still have more to discuss. I mean, that is the kind of content that you're getting it live from here. I mean, eminent personalities here in Kenya oozing nothing more but wisdom and, of course, knowledge of the man that we have come to love, admire, and, of course, cherish. That is none other than the late former Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, Raila Odinga. We have seen the body has just left Nyayo National Stadium. It's on its way to Lee Funeral Home, and now we want to take you to the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University, where our reporter Alan Aoko is coming up on the screen. As you can see, is on standby. He's going to give us a brief of the preparations that are taking place there. Remember, this is the place where the funeral service for the late Prime Minister will be taking place. It was raining. I understand now it's drizzling. Alan Aoko, come on, just give us an update on the preparations for that funeral service on Sunday.
Thank you very much, O'Brien. I can hear you loud and clear. And yes, we are at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology, where preparations are on top gear for the Sunday service, the Sunday funeral service. All hands on deck here. We came here and found a battery of workers working on various facilities and auxiliary services here in this huge, expansive field of the tertiary institution. When you look around where I am, you will see some tents that are being erected here. Of course, you can see the magnitude of work that is ongoing. This is just part of the tents that are being connected. They are first being connected in one place and then joined together to take in the massive crowds that are supposed or are expected to get to this place. Remember, this Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology was established in 2009, and then before it was actually called the Bondo University College, but then it was renamed in 2013 in commemoration of the late former Prime Minister's father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, and you can see it was a very apt choice to choose for the funeral service on Sunday. What you are seeing on your screens right now are just students who are moving about the field, just looking to see what they can do. Remember, students who are very passionate about Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and we spoke to them earlier in the morning, and they told us that they are preparing to help and receive the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's remains when he arrives. They told us that they are ready for him and they'll stand with him whether he's here or not. So O'Brien, unless you have a question, I wanted to take you through just to remind the viewers about Sunday, when by 7 a.m., would you believe, people will be here, supposed to be seated by 7 a.m., and then we'll have the family of the late Prime Minister coming here at 8. And 8:30 we have dignitaries also filing in, and then the President William Ruto arriving at 9 a.m. and then we have the service beginning from 9 onwards to the afternoon, and then we have tributes following at 12:30 to 2 p.m. and then we have the Deputy President speaking at 2:30, presidential address at 2:40, 3:10 the body leaves this place and goes to Kango Ka Jaramogi, the homestead of the family of Raila Odinga, and then we have private interment ceremony at 3 p.m. So, Brian, shoot your question. I'm ready for you.
That's fine, and I'm going to shoot from the hip, as we say, so just get ready for it. Help us understand things. Would there be any public viewing of the body at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Stadium?
O'Brien, that is an interesting question. There will be a public viewing of the body at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science according to the initial plans, at least, the logistics that we are seeing, unless things change, that is how it's supposed to be. Remember, this place is massive, yes, but remember the crowd control situation we had in Nairobi. I think the security apparatus are trying to not have that happen again here. Remember, this is Siaya County. This is the home of the Raila family. The security apparatus are trying now to probably circumnavigate that situation, and therefore, if there will still be that viewing, it will probably be monitored or metered rather. But we wait and see how it will pan out.
The other question is, I know the funeral service at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga is going to be open to the public. What about at the burial site? Will members of the public be allowed to go to Opodo farm for the burial service?
Yes, it is a private affair, even on the program, as I've mentioned, that, but unless it is changed, it is a private ceremony. But what I can tell you is we've seen some mobile screens around. We've even seen some being assembled here on these grounds. Perhaps the screens will be able to monitor, the residents will monitor from those points, and they are trying to monitor how crowd control is happening. In fact, when we were there in the morning, we did see some small tents being arranged. The Opoda farm is a smaller compound, and not many people can actually fit there. But outside the premises, it's a bit bigger, but it's also something about crowd control, where people access a very narrow gate, and they don't want a surge. They don't want people to panic. So that also is something to monitor, and I think the security operators will also try and meter that one as well.
Very well. I could go on and on shooting, but I can see the showers coming down, and according to the Luo culture, it's a sign of blessings. So please go and take yourself a shelter. We'll keep on talking to you, coming to us live from Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University. That is our reporter, Alan Naoko, doing a fantastic job. I mean, you got to give it up to the man. Has done it well, and of course explaining to us the situation on the ground. We are coming back, of course, to studio. Alan Bai, we're coming back to studio, and of course, as we continue to give tributes to the fallen former Prime Minister. In the studio, I have prominent Kenyans who are giving us various sides of Raila Odinga. I want now to bring on board Manu Chandaria. He has been with us this afternoon. Manu Chandaria, I know you need to leave, but not before I ask you this. If there is one thing that you are going to remember Raila Odinga for, what is that? Please go ahead and tell us, even as you make your final remarks.
I think he was a great peacemaker, but to memorize him, in his memory, as many Kenyans possible, let's plant a tree. Let's make his idea, his thoughts of putting back our forest as they were. And if you can plant 1,000 million trees, 2 million trees, 5 million trees, 10 million trees, that's the greatest respect that we have paid to this great man.
Wow. Is that all? Is that all? Or...
That's all. Thank you.
That's very good. Manu Chandaria, thank you so very much indeed for finding time out of a busy schedule. You were telling me earlier on that you were chairing a meeting at one of the universities in Kenya. Is that what you told me?
Yeah.
Very good. And mind you, Manu Chandaria is 97.7 years old, and he's still chairing council meetings of one of the local universities here in Kenya. A great inspiration, a man who has straddled the Kenyan business as well as economic environment for many years. He's celebrating his 98th birthday in March of 2026. Will we?
Every private sector person
Yep.
create one more job. One more job.
Very good.
That will be a great memory that we will remember this great man.
Very well.
One tree, one
One
job.
job. My goodness. It can't get better than that. You agree with me? I mean, his clarion call is very simple. For us to honor Raila Odinga, let us, each and every one of us, plant a single tree. And do you know how many trees are those? Those are almost 60 million trees. And it's going to build into our government agenda of planting 15 billion trees by the year 2030. Wow. And of course, a clarion call to the private sector, please create one job to honor Raila Odinga. Manu Chandaria, asante sana. Have yourself a great evening.
Thank you.
Very good. And of course, thank you for always honoring our call.
Thank
Come
you.
over here.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Thank you.